hello, covered in foil because we're going to get pretty deep fried in this episode. If you're new and afraid, this is normal here. And it's actually, I've got a very serious topic today. As usual, I've prepared a piece of slam poetry that's just going to kind of edge you into today's topic and kind of like a trailer to see if this is going to be the topic that's going to hit you where it hurts. People think being distracted isn't a big deal, but when distracted, the mind often misses what the spirit is attempting to reveal. Boredom is something we feel when we don't have anything to do. But what if it's in these moments when your soul is communicating with you? Can I have some advice? Is this the right price? Does this answer suffice? Is this guy naughty or nice? We've become like mice, or more like sheep, following the herd because of something we heard. But what if, and I know it sounds absurd, but all of you on my podcast are called to be shepherds? Let me cook. Leading the flock, not afraid of those who mock, with boundaries and principles as strong as a rock. And all our men have big cocks. It doesn't say that. Actually doesn't say that. I don't know why that says that. Our fear of being bored is eating our minds, because in boredom our mind has the opportunity to find its true normal, its true default, its true state of rest. And this gives us the ability to make decisions that serve us best. Under this I have perky breasts. That's also not how it says. Anyway, guys, that's just how I start every episode so you guys can get a real feel for the ep. I do want to say welcome to episode 11 of the Sarah Elizabeth Show, my podcast, the best one-woman show on the block, the wacky, witty and whimsical podcast for women of all ages and stages and wages.
You are now tuned into the Sarah Elizabeth Show.
Allow me to be your Edgar Allan Poe.
Life's a bitch, and so am I.
This show's a bit like getting high.
Let me be your anchor when your mind's a little flimsy. So without further ado, welcome to the Whimsy. That'll do it.
If you are new and you're like, what the, just please let me cook or fry. You're going to really love it here. Like I said, I want to say welcome because I've had so many lovely new faces. Oh my God, like I needed you so many years ago. Why have I only just found you now? You find me when you needed me. So if you're just finding me now, you're in the period of your life, or you might be on your period where you really need me. So welcome to the hullabaloo that is my life. This is going to be a very deep episode, and actually I'm going to share with you something that I never thought I'd share. So before I get into all the jiggery pokery, I've got a passage from this book called The Battlefield of the Mind. It's one of my fave books. And the mind often misses what the spirit is attempting to reveal because it is too busy. Okay? And even if you're not spiritual, by the way, the spirit, also in this sense, would mean your gut, your soul, right? We miss things. So in our life, we're always searching for the right thing to do, our purpose, the things that we want to do, the right person. Should I dump this guy? What should I do in this friendship? How should I handle this situation? Should I be going towards this goal or this? What is the meaning of life? All the questions that we kind of like constantly deal with. The mind is often missing this because the spirit is attempting to reveal it, but the mind's too busy. What I will say is this: grab a drink, grab a snack. Today's drink of choice for me is the Tide Collagen Beauty Water. Oh! And today's snack of choice is the Lidl dried cranberries. Good for the coochie, they say. And of course, I just welcome with open arms and open legs and open heart every single new person, because I've got my OGs who have listened to my podcast for ages, but my newbies, I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here. Say hey. And just whatever you're watching right now, little reminder, this podcast is obviously on YouTube, but also on Spotify and Apple. So hey to my listeners on Spotify and Apple and all wherever you get your podcasts. Obviously on YouTube, you're seeing me covered in foil. I will be recycling this foil, by the way. I got a 50-meter roll. This is just a 50-meter roll, and I will be recycling it. I'm not going to be buying foil for years. Don't worry, reduce, reuse, recycle. I will say, if you're on YouTube, do me a little solid, as you always do. And if you can hit the hype button and the like button in the early stage, it just helps me so much, and it's completely free for you, and I would love you forever, so thank you so much. And like I said, just before I get into the jiggery pokery, I do Dear Sarah's, which are some dilemmas. Dear Sarah, I had an old friend reach out who wasn't very good to me in school. I'm doing much better now, and I'm worried that that's why she's reaching out. Part of me feels bad thinking she might be in a bad place and needs support. Instantly, I thought this: isn't it that age-old tale of people when you're not doing so good, or not even not doing good, but just you need support the most? Often you don't get it from the people around you, or often people don't treat you very well. But the minute that you have made a noticeable change, all of a sudden the blood-sucking leeches, they want to taste. It's too late, honey. Now, the thing is, you can be the bigger person here and be like, you know what? Because that's very nice that you're kind of like, part of me feels bad. that she might be in a bad place now, but you were in a bad place. And in your bad place, not only was she not there for you, it sounds like she was actually bad to you in your bad place. And look how the tables have turned. And now you're doing really good and she wants to leech off of that perhaps. That's just an angle I want to give it to you. Now, I am all for, but also on this podcast, the one big thing that I will drill into you forever is I believe people can change. Because I believe if we, oh my God, my coochie's out. I'm so sorry, the crown jewels were out. Sorry if you saw the crown jewels. If you feel like in this moment you can be the bigger person and you want to go, because I'm not going to tell you not to do this, to say, hey, like you reached out, are you in a bad place? Is there anything? Can I offer some support? That'd be really big of you. And maybe that's what you want to do. But if you have that gut feeling, but this is why I'm including it in this episode, you need to have that gut feeling, consult the board of the mind, spirit, soul, and soul. That's your board. Everyone has a board, okay? And when I say consult the board, I'm not saying consult the girlies that you go to Ibiza with. I'm saying consult the spirit, soul, and mind and properly ponder it. You don't need to make a decision in a day. You need to think, right, is this someone that I should even rekindle with? And I think you know the answer. But isn't it that thing? I think it's so true that people, when you need them the most, they're not there for you. And the minute that maybe everyone else is supporting you and you've had this glow up and then they're wanting to leech off that. And it is such a sad thing that people you're friends with or people you know only start to support you often when other people start to support you, when other people show you love. When it's cool to show you love, they'll start. But the time that I needed you to show love, bitch, you were not there. The time I needed support was when no one else was doing it. And that's when you were completely Stevie Wonder, bitch. But now it's cool to support me and everyone else is doing it. You're jumping on the bandwagon. But the support that sticks is the support when no one else was doing it, because that's the shit that gets me to that point. That's what a lot of people do. All of a sudden, the support will start coming in. Oh, you've been at this for ages. And yeah, but you wouldn't have shared me if I was a missing dog in the local area when I was down. But now, all of a sudden, I had someone recently pop up to me and she was like, Sarah, oh girl, you're smashing it at the minute. You're not my girl, first of all. You're smashing it at the minute. And then this is what's interesting. She put, it's so nice to see everyone else is finally seeing what I saw all along. I said, bitch, you saw all along. You must have had cataract. Or you must have had a heavy floaters or something. Because, bitch, you wouldn't have shared me if I was your missing cat. And you didn't show any love when, like, I was, doing my reels that got 50 likes. But now it's got the 50,000. You're like, oh, I'm so glad everyone else is loving you. Too late. Time's up. The support that sticks. And the irony is, when support is needed and matters the most, is when not everyone else is doing it. And you can consistently show up. Sorry, I've gone a bit off topic there. One more, Dear Sarah, because I just thought this one, I love this one. Dear Sarah, a friend of mine have drifted a little as she seems a lot more distant with me. We've tried to work it through and I just want what we had before, but she seems to be fine with a lukewarm friendship. When I say I just tinged at that, the word lukewarm disturbs my soul and I'm going to tell you why. She then put, that's not usually how I operate, but should I make an exception? And that, bitch, I'm telling you now, no exceptions. If that's not how you operate, it doesn't have to be. I saw a TikTok, let me get it up. I'd rather cut you off completely than limit how I interact with you, because I've never been a half-hearted lover or friend. One thing I will never be is lukewarm, bitch. I'm a deep, full-bodied bitch. I'm all the way in there. I don't want to limit how I am with you just because you're not giving me everything or you now want to go low maintenance. That's not going to work for me, bitch. I don't look low maintenance. Do I look low maintenance to you? I'm wrapped in foil, bitch. Bitch, I'm all in with you or I'm all out, and I understand that might be toxic to some people and that might not be how they operate, but that's just how I am. I'm all there. I'm a high tide, bitch. I'm all there. And like I said, I'm fully in with you or I'm fully out. I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm not nonchalant. I'm not just, low maintenance. No. And it doesn't mean that now we have beef or we've got a problem. No, it just means that I don't do that. And I think this is why for deep people it can be so upsetting and just they're so sensitive to feeling adrift in friendships, and we feel adrift so much more, and we can get so upset when we feel someone drifting away, because for most people it's easy for them to be like, well, it's fine, we've drifted a bit, but we can just see each other every other month. Bitch, that's not gonna work for me. As a full body bitch who's all up in the deep end of the pool, I need to be all the way in with you. And I understand that that's a lot for some people, but I'm not an easy lover. I'll get a hold on you, believe it. So I feel like us deep people, I don't want to do a lukewarm bitch, my name ain't Luke, and do I look warm? I am. I'm hot under this foil, but don't need to be lukewarm on this part. Like I said, I'm not lukewarm, I'm not nonchalant. So my answer to that question, sorry, I didn't even answer your question, I just went on to a spiel. You said you don't want to do lukewarm. You don't have to, okay? And they've got to understand that, okay? And I know for some people are not going to understand that. They're going to think that's high maintenance, that's too much. But look how it works. The reason that I give fully, and I can't do low maintenance, and I give fully, is because I have so much love to give. I have so much. The crown jewels are out again. I give so fully to everything. I'm always just so passionate about stuff. So it doesn't serve me to have those low maintenance connections in my life. That doesn't serve me. Now, like I said, I'm so close I'm just about to get into the main, because like I said, guys, what I'm talking about here is so important. These couple things I'm going to talk about before I get into the main meat of the boredom, it's setting it up for what I'm going to say. There's a method to my madness, and you've got to stick with me. By the way, you can submit all your Dear Sarahs on the Patreon, my aftercare, which, by the way, if you love this pod and you love the vibes, you need to be on aftercare in our community of absolute bad bitches. I'll mention that in a sec. But on my poddy wad, my favourite feature of all, and I feel like I'm going to get a bit emotional here, but I don't want to be kind of cringe, but then it's also not cringe, is I do this profound question of the week. Because I thought, there's questions that I love to ask people that I think say so much of their character, and it's so deep and meaningful for them. But then also I can get recommendations. So across the span of the episodes, by the way, if you're new to the pod, make sure you subscribe and go and watch all the episodes, because you're going to love it. You really are. But I asked, what is the song that makes you feel alive? What's your favourite song? And give me a reason. And people were giving all their and I got recommendations for some of my favourite songs. So the idea is, you get to say, this is my favourite song, and it's because it's a yearning song, and it really connects with that like romantic side of me, and give me an explanation. And you get to say that out loud, which is really nice for you. But then also people get to scroll through the comments. And get loads of recommendations. So last week's ep, I asked you guys, what was a piece of advice that someone has given you that stuck with you? A word of wisdom, a word of whimsy. I was gagged and dragged through a bush by this answer. So I wrote it down. Can I read this to you? Because I feel like I might get emotional. Every time I read it, when something just gets you, really like hits you and you don't know why? This is it. Someone commented, and it's a quote, and whoever it was, bitch, Professor Goodpuss, I don't know who it was. It's probably someone, Dr. Seuss or something, I don't know. Albert Einstein, I don't know, Theresa May, one of the two, one of the three. And it's called The Toothless Man. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. Some of you might have heard it, but I need you to hear this. Okay. I have led a toothless life, he thought. A toothless life. I have never bitten into anything. I was waiting. I was reserving myself for later on. And I have just noticed that my teeth have gone. I feel really emotional. Every time I read it, I get sad. I have led a toothless life, he thought. A toothless life. I have never bitten into anything. I was waiting. I was reserving myself for later on. And I have just noticed that my teeth have gone. Why does that happen? Like, what? And I was going to explain it and be like, so when you get to the nucleus of this, what he's saying is, if you miss your chance, it's going to be too late. You got to do it now. But I was like, I've got intelligent women on this podcast. I don't need to sit in Oh, by the way, as well, I know I said my podcast is for women. It is also for men, but men are just not as cool. So it kind of rules out half the school, if you know what I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding. But there's not as many, for me, cool men as there is cool women. So I say women as a majority, but if you're a guy who listens, you're cool as hell, king. You're welcome. I'm sorry for not including you. What a crazy quote that is. And that's the type of magic I create in my comment sections. So today's big, profound question of the week, and even newbies, I want you to involve yourself. And I'm going to sound really negative, but I believe in the power of words, okay? I want to ask everyone, what is something negative, nasty, mean, down, like putting down, that someone has said to you that has stuck with you? This could have been when you were a child, in teenage years, or recently. This could be a family member, a friend, an ex-partner, anyone. Something someone said with you that stuck with you, and it was negative and it was horrible. And I want you to also, in the comments, if you feel comfortable, I know this is a big thing, but I believe in denouncing things, to also say like a little thing about how that is not true about you. This is going to sound super cringe, but let's just dabble in the cringe. We've got to dabble in the cringe. And I think it's going to be healing for us to read things. And also the reason I think this would be good for other people to read is because if other people have had those same things said about them, it's nice for them to know that, one, that was hurtful. So I need to know to never say that to anyone else again. So I want you to comment what it was and also a statement. Someone said I was overweight and someone said that it was really horrible about that, but I love my body right now. I absolutely love it. and it's healthy and it serves me. Someone said that I was just not like unlovable, like too difficult to love. But I just have possessed such emotional intelligence, which is going to actually aid me in finding an even better partner down the line. I want you to speak some truth over you, okay? Right now. For me, I remember when I was a child, someone close to me said to me, oh, you're a selfish child. And it stuck with me. Very, very sick, because you can't be a selfish child, I don't believe, but you're a selfish child. And it really stuck with me. And I was battling with it for a while, and obviously selfish is not a good thing. But I believe the person who said to me, I believe not selfish in a bad way, but my selfishness when it comes to my boundaries and who I am and how strong I am as a person, I believe that actually threaten the person. So I'm going to denounce it right now and actually say, not in a bad way, because being selfish is a bad thing, being selfish in that sense, but being really selfish when it comes to yourself and your time and protecting your peace and your boundaries, that is actually one of my traits that I like so much about me and has been so powerful in my life and to others. My next point, literally staring me in the face here, is boredom and all my points, but I'm going to kick myself if I don't mention this right now. I was, me and the Whimsy Warriors are who I call my girlies who are on my Aftercare Patreon. We were doing an arts and crafts live Whimsy night 2 nights ago. If you are new and you're thinking, what are you even saying? Just stick with me, okay? For the last 10 days over on Patreon, I've been doing these live Whimsy evenings where we switch off, phone on DND, and we do a different activity. I'm live holding the class and you guys do it with me, almost like a power hour. And then I save them to the Patreon as well, so anyone who's in the time zones wants to catch up on them. But I'm not going to go on about it in this episode at all. But by the way, I would just say, if you love this shit, you need to be on the Patreon. It's the best thing ever. It's such a community of just all like-minded divas. But we were doing an arts and crafts Whimsy night, and Dylan, she won't mind me mentioning this, I'm called this gorgeous girl who joined my Patreon. She's from Michigan, period. Recently, I won't post the full thing because I do believe it's personal, but she did share it with us on the Patreon group chat. She did this gorgeous scrapbook page of pain. It sounds crazy just to hear her, where she was scrapbooking all her feelings, and some of them were dark feelings as well, but she was doing paints, and then she was sticking images, and then she was writing quotes, and she was just kind of offloading everything that was on her mind onto the scrapbook. And I was thinking, wow, I am inspired by you. So that's what we did. So I have decided, so this is for everyone, there's loads of you, there's now nearly 300 of you who are on Aftercare, so we've got a community, and I love it because we're all like making friends now, and we're in it. So for all of you who are joined, and if you are not joined and you're new, I do, like I said, this isn't something where I'm like, join my Patreon. You're gonna want to be here for this. I am putting on, what inspired by the amazing Dylan, a soul scrapbooking class where we're gonna do, so that's what I'm gonna call it, soul scrapbooking, inspired by Dylan's work, together, where I'm going to kind of run you through this little session of really scrapbooking our soul, and that will be on Patreon along with everything else. I'll just quickly say, guys, on the Patreon there's aftercare episodes which are more niche, like taboo episodes of this podcast over on there. So I've done my relationship with God, I've done like a sex episode on stuff. We do the two juxtaposing. We've got group chats, we're all making friends. We're also doing the 75 sexy challenge, which is my version of the 75 hard, where I'm guiding you through with trackers, and I've put trackers. There's so much stuff on there. So and it's the price of a latte, it's £3 a month, and you can, like I said, there's no catch that you can literally cancel at any time. So all I would say is, I'm not going to go on it till I'm blue in the face. Get yourself on the Patreon so you're not missing stuff. I don't want to eat into the main episode and explain loads more, but you are going to want to be on this Patreon with a lovely community of like-minded women who just want better for themselves and want to have a physical, spiritual glow up, and that's what it is. The Patreon is linked in the description of wherever you're listening and watching to this. Pause now, go sign up to the Patreon and get involved with that. And like I said, even if you are busy and you're like, I can't make the lives, I do save them so you can benefit from them at any time. So go and do that, and then let's get into the rest of the act. I want to start with a place I've been in the last few months. I've been in a place personally of just wanting complete transformation for myself. Physical, mental, spiritual. I feel like I've been at things for ages, but I finally feel like I'm at a point where I'm like, no, I want my life to be better in every sense of the word, and I feel like a lot of us there. So I've been on a lot of mental journey. I've spoke across all the episodes, like I said, so if you are new, you've got a lot to catch up on about how my journey has been and how I was 100%, I know I was depressed a little bit quite recently, but I'm over that now. But over the last month, I've just been praying for things, and I'm not making, this episode is not about this, but I obviously will mention I love Jesus, and my faith is obviously a massive, massive part of my life. So I was praying, and I'm going to make this really, because I know, like I said, some people don't, it doesn't apply. This is not what this episode is about at all, but what I'm going to tell you right now is it's just important nuggets for how I got to gluten-free nuggets, to how I got to this revelation about like boredom and how it is eating us. How the fear of being bored and us avoiding boredom is actually our worst nightmare. Let me cook. Let me fry. So obviously when you're praying for things in like religion, like in the Bible and stuff like that, it's not an uncommon thing for Christians to fast and pray, all right? We know about Moses. He was fasting in the desert 40 days and 40 nights. He was having those Ozempic rumours. Moses had Ozempic rumours, perhaps Monjada. He was skinny as hell. 40 days and 40 nights, no food. I think he went without water. He was wrinkled up and dry, but he was obviously people fasted and they prayed, and I was like, I'm not gonna fast food with. Well, like I said, God, I'll do whatever God calls me, but I'm not. Like I said, I'm a growing bitch in my luteal phase. I ain't cutting the fast food. In fact, I don't feel like fasting food. I feel like fast food. I feel like eating food fast. I was like, I don't want. And for me, yeah, that didn't seem like a healthy choice, and that's why. Trigger warning. I'm talking about food as well, but yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna do a food fast. No. And that's not something. Like I said, unless you feel called. Because I don't want to speak down on people that do that. That's not something I've ever felt called to do. So, and also there's obviously the health things with that. It's not good to, you know, you got to put your health first and stuff like that. So there's all that. So I was like, no. But I just felt, I was like, I'm in this kind of period of like change. And I kind of want to do something that's hard for me. That's what it was ultimately. I don't know why I've done this rigmarole, but I've done an episode on my relationship with God on the Patreon, by the way. The reason I did that is because I appreciate that not everyone wants to hear about stuff like that. But, you know, my God, this is a big part of my life, so it will dribble into the episodes, period. But, so I was like, I want to do something that's hard for me. Yeah, I want to push myself. I just feel like this is what I need to do right now. So I felt called, in a sense, to do a fast of everything that, and I want to say, because I've been hesitant to talk about this, because I'm actually 5 days left of it. And if you guys are interested in doing I'll do a whole episode on what I did. But the reason I'm sensitive to share stuff is because I don't want to share stuff that might be unhelpful for people at certain times, because I'm aware this is a big decision. So in no way, shape or form am I being like, you guys do this, and that's not what this episode is about. All my points that I'm going to talk about are things that have nothing to do with you doing any sort of cutting out of anything. But I just thought I'd share. I felt like I wanted to cut out everything that I feel like had become a massive distraction in my life just for 27 days, because my next birthday I'll be 27. I just felt to do that. I'm all crazy connected with numbers and stuff, whatever. So I felt to cut out all scrolling. Any scrolling. I can post, but then I've got to go, because I got into such a trap with scrolling. And then when I'd post, because obviously I post on social media, by the way, make sure you get me on all my socials. I would refresh my likes. I would check views, engagement. It was such a trap, and I would doom scroll. I would wake up and scroll stories. So all scrolling had to stop. And in fact, I was like, I'm not going to watch any stories. I let my friends, this is an important thing. You should have good friends that you can tell them about your things. I told my close friends, I said, if there's anything you want me to see, message it to me directly. I can be on my WhatsApp, but I'm not scrolling at all. So no scrolling on TikTok, not even for little 1 minutes. I know I've mentioned before doing things where I limit my screen time. I said no scrolling, period. It's a big thing. That's why I'm saying I'm not telling you guys to do it. I also cut out any watching of anything, because I wanted this, for me, what it was, I wanted to create. I felt called to create and not consume for a period of time, because all these things, by the way, are not negative things. That's why I'm careful to talk about them. Scrolling, getting inspiration, watching a favorite series, listening to music, these are great things that have had such a positive impact on my life. But out of balance, they can be a distraction as well. So I cut out all music. This is why I'm saying I'm just being careful to share, but this is genuinely what I've done. I can listen to jazz, instrumental, and of course my worship music, because I've obviously been still going to church and stuff. But cut out all music. Now music is you know how much music means to me and how music is incredible, and I love music more than nothing else. And modern, music period, chart music, everything. My 80s couldn't, like I said, I would say couldn't live without it. But it got to a point where I could not do anything without my music playing. Even when I'm doing a work, I have my music playing, it was distracted me. I would maladaptive daydream to music. I would daydream my life away to music. And it got to a point where I just like, I want to cut it for a little bit just to see if I can do the discipline. So I cut that, any form of watching anything, just no consuming at all. I also cut alcohol, I cut coffee. This is why I'm saying don't do it, like don't do it, guys. But I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm wrapped in foil. But this is, you guys know that I've been doing a feature on the podcast where I'm in a weirder situation every single episode, so that's fine. I just wanted to do it, no snacking. Now, no snacking, I mean no like sweets and chocolate snacking. That was for me, but I've been eating such a nutritious diet. So like I said, not recommending you guys to do that. I felt to do it. I will do an episode talking about my findings. But the reason I wanted to mention that and then talk about this is this. I felt so good throughout the whole of it. I felt so clear, my channel, whatever. But every single day I was like, I feel so bored. Okay, and I knew it would happen, of course. I've not got any scrolling, I'm not watching anything. I feel so bored. But in my boredom, I realized this is exactly where I needed to be to progress into a deeper level of like purpose. Now let me cook. Boredom, temporarily, is okay because when you're not bored, a lot of the time, you're distracted and you're scrolling and you're doom scrolling and you're doing something that you to distract yourself. Your soul is still bored. Your mind just doesn't think it's bored because it was overstimulated by input. You're now just shifting what part of you is bored. Are you with me? I'm going to say it again. So a lot of the time when we're scrolling, you take a break in work or something, you're scrolling, you're watching other people's stories. You're like, I'm not bored because you've got, there's some drama, I'm doing this. You're not bored. Your soul's actually still bored because your soul wants more. Your soul wants you to create more. Now, I'm not saying all watching things is bad. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Like, there's so much good watching stuff, but I'm just talking as a general, when you're constantly distracting yourself and you're addicted to your phone and stuff like that, your soul is still actually bored, but your mind doesn't think you're bored because there's constant things going on in the surface, right? So you're just switching what part of you is bored. So when I was in those moments of boredom and I was allowing thoughts to fully process and I was actually, what do I think and what do I want to do? And that creative idea is coming to me. I was just in my element with that. And I was like, okay, my mind feels bored because it's so used to this overclogging and stuff. But my soul feels really quite alive in this boredom because I'm getting new ideas. Like with any addiction, and I'm not comparing this to any other forms of addiction, by the way, but like with any addiction, there will be a period of struggle or withdrawal whilst you're trying to get your mind to default. Stick at it because your mind will slowly start to crave the clearance. Like with anything that you cut out, like if you're cutting out scrolling, like with me cutting out everything, and that's why I don't recommend what I did because I kind of went cold turkey with everything. Like I said, I just felt called to do it. Your mind will, of course, be like, I need that fix. But stick at it. Because there will come a time when you actually now, your default is that clearness. Okay. Also, when you're not allowing any space to be bored, you don't think for yourself at all. You don't even allow thoughts to fully run their course. So because of our lack of being able to think for ourselves and create that boredom space for thoughts to flow, we're turning into sheep. People are turning into sheep. Can we bring this back, please? I really wish I could wear it. This is super in right now. I don't know how I feel about this, but I looked on a podcast and they said it was a red flag. Can we all stop doing this? You stop doing it. This constant need for us to only do something if everyone else is doing it, or only stop doing something because everyone else is doing it. Sheep mentality, just following, not being able to think for ourselves. You know that sheep just follow in herds, and then when they fall on their back, they flail and they can't even get up without everyone else helping them. And if you cannot think for yourself and you cannot think, what do I want? What do I want to do? I'm going to do that just because I want to. You are in a crisis and you need to declog and you need to get comfortable being bored so you can let those thoughts flow. And that's what this entire episode is about. And if you think I've gone crazy, check out my sheep noise. And like I said, you do not want to be a sheep. You don't want to be a sheep. You want to be a goat, bitch. Because like I said, I've seen goats. I was in Cyprus and I saw a goat up the side of a cliff on a 2-centimeter ledge, just blazing it up on the side. But he was just up there. And I thought, that's what I want to be. Not the sheep who can't even get up off its back. And this is what I mean. Because of our lack of being able to spend any time by ourselves and in our own thoughts, we're turning into thoughtless sheep. Oh, my boyfriend has done this, so I'm just going to check on this podcast to see if it's a red flag. Your gut was screaming, I'm telling you what to do. But now you're blocking your gut because you're scrolling through a is he cheating thread. Like I said before, don't make me go blue in the face repeating it. Your mind will miss what the soul is trying to reveal because it's too busy. You're not giving it space to cook. And another thing that I want to just quickly touch on is the constant need for advice. When you are in a space that you are not thinking for yourself and you're really struggling to make decisions for yourself, you get addicted to advice, okay? And I feel like we've become addicted to asking our friends for advice for things for the wrong reasons, and I'm going to explain why. The harsh truth is a lot of the reason we ask for advice, I just did this, what do you think? Is not because we want advice, it's because we want validation that we made the right choice. We want validation that we made the right decision from someone. We don't even need advice. We made the decision. We knew what to do. But then we're going to our friends and we're going to our circle of absolute shambles going, oh, I just did this. So what do you think? Do you think I was in the wrong? Do you think I was in the right? You want validation that you made the right choice. That's what you want. Your gut talk, you're like a floozy. And you're disrespecting your gut. Say sorry to your gut. You're disrespecting your gut that told you what to do. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Advice is sometimes really good from certain people, especially from, people who in those professions, going to therapists, this kind of thing. But I'm talking about you've made a decision and now you're like, oh, just let me know if I was in the right with this. You want a bit of Valley D. You want a bit of a dose of Valley D. You don't need it, you little floozy. You want validation, and this is the thing, this is how you know it's validation, because then if you go into like I said, you're not even going to people who can give you proper structured advice. You go into your friend flimsy Fiona who can't even make beans on toast and be like, so do you think I was in the wrong? And then this is the thing, this is how you know, if you ask for advice but then you get the answer you don't want, oh, was I in the right? No, actually I don't think you were in the right. Oh, well, actually this is why. But you asked. When you get the advice you don't want, you have a panic attack, but you ask for the advice, and that's how you know. You're not actually asking for advice because you genuinely need advice. You're asking because you want a little bit of the Valley D. And we've all been addicted to a bit of the Valley D. Check out my episode on the male validation, by the way. There's times to ask for advice, like I said, of course. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying, but make sure that before you go and ask for advice from your circle of shambles, you have let it cook and marinate in the slow cooker of your mind, and consult the board. The board, by the way, is not your girlies that you went to Ocean Beach with. It is Ocean Beach. There's one. It is your spirit, soul and mind, even though I have just pointed out my tits. That'll tell you so much more. And like I said, I've done it so many times, so I'm not coming at you a place of like telling you what to do. This is all from a place of growth from me. I've done it so many times where I've gone to a friend, I've made a decision, and I should be so confident in my decision that I made, because I've already made it as well. And I've gone to someone and I've gone, oh, hey, just showing you this conversation with someone else. Was I in the right? Was I in the right? Because she said this. And of course, and then when they come back and say, actually, I don't think you're in the right. You're like, well, actually, I was. You shouldn't have asked then. Stand on business. You made the decision. So just free yourself from that hold of needing advice all the time. When you get comfortable being bored and letting those thoughts fully form, you'll find you don't need advice anymore. So guys, I want to talk about the power of coming to a realization and coming to an understanding, or coming to a breaking point on your own, okay? When you like I said, getting to that place of being okay, being bored, letting thoughts fully form, coming to a realization by yourself, coming to a conclusion or a realization or a breaking point on your own through your own process is so much more powerful than if someone else prompted you to do it. So with that in mind, I want to quickly just touch on something. And this is for the people who feel like if they're always giving advice to friends, you're always begging a friend to leave a guy and they keep taking them back and you feel like it's draining you. I want to talk on, this is kind of for you. Because in the same there's 2 points I want to touch on here. I want to touch on how powerful it is to come to your own understanding of why you need to leave someone, why you need to make a change, why you need to do this. But I also want to talk about how you need to know when something is draining you more than it needs to. And don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we don't be there for our friends. I don't say that we don't advise our friends. I don't say that we sometimes let situations drain us on behalf of our friends. I stopped giving my friends guy advice and begging them to leave the blood-sucking bandits that they were entertaining and keep giving them chances. years ago, and I am still an amazing friend, and I'm going to tell you why. This is why sometimes you need to step back from begging your friend to leave him if they keep taking him back, because it's starting to drain you more, and they're never going to come to that conclusion if you keep draining them. They have to come to that conclusion by themselves, okay? I got to a point where I was so passionate about everyone wanting more for my friends, because I had these strong boundaries myself, and I desperately wanted I wanted to shake my friends and just be like, bitch, he's not like, I just wanted to shake my friends and be like, no, you deserve better. And I went through years of actually getting angry when they'd say they'd taken back someone who was awful to them, because I was like, I just want better for you. And it genuinely got to a point where it would drain me, because they would just keep on taking them back and keep on taking them back and coming to me for advice, and I'd always be there. And they weren't a bad friend for doing that. They're just in their own thing. But I was just like getting drained, because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going over the same thing 101 times. I will be there for you when you come to the discovery that little dust fart, I told you so. I'm not going to be the type of friend that's like, I told you so you're on your own. I will cuddle you and I will be there through it. But you have to come to this realization by yourself, because this situation cannot drain me as much as it is draining you. Like I said, I've had years of it. Please, like just literally begging my friends, please, like, no, that's not his friend using his Hinge account with all his pictures. That is him. Please leave him. Please, that's not Domino's Pizza texting him, I'm ready, babe. Domino's guys don't talk like that. Please, that's not him. Please, it's weird that he said he doesn't celebrate Valentine's Day because he should be every day, but every day he just makes me miserable. Please. I've had years of just trying to reason with people, and they keep taking them back. You are not a bad friend for stopping giving advice to someone who keeps taking the same person back and back. And it's draining you. It gets exhausting for you. For me, where it's different is if it's an abusive situation, I am going to beat that dead horse. In fact, I'm going to beat that horse till it's dead. I'm going to call the police. If it's something abusive and someone's trapped in an abusive cycle, that is a little bit different for me. I'm going to keep on going at that. But I'm more talking about, the situations where you've gone blue in the face saying, look, he's not going to marry you. He's not, these are the signs, but you just are in that attachment loop. They have to break that attachment loop themselves, and actually it's going to be 10 times more powerful if they break that loop themselves. I had a friend come to me recently, and she said, I know what you're going to say, because she's used to me going blue in the face, going, you deserve better, queen, we're queens on thrones, and you're going to his, he's got one pillow, and he's got one pillow, and he's got New York wallpaper, and he speaks to you like shit. You've watched The Wolf of Wall Street 101 times because he's forgotten he's shown it you before. He doesn't ask you what film you want to see. Please. He doesn't make you finish. He doesn't pay for dates. He gives you anxiety. I've gone blue in the face doing it. And yeah, she came to me and she was like, I know what you're going to say, but I'm talking to him again. And she waited for my volcanic eruption because of all that. Nothing. I've got nothing left. Y'all have drained me. So I remember I just said to her, I said, okay, that's good. Like that. All right. And she was, I could tell that she was discombobulated and befuddled by my reaction. Got nothing left, my darling. Absolutely. And it's not that I don't care about you. I'm going to be there for you. But it's the fact that you know exactly what I think. So why do we have to beat a dead horse? I would never. I love horses. Do you say that's the thing? I hate that phrase. I would never do that. Especially because they kill horses quite more than they kill a lot of things, because they kill horses when they spray in their hoof. Did you know that? It's sick. And like I said, I care deeply about my friends, but you're going to figure this shit out. It's not fair for it to drain the both of us anymore. Okay? You're going to come to this conclusion by yourself. It's going to be 10 times more powerful. And I know this because everything that I know, especially when it's connected to my worth and how I feel about a situation, I figured out on my own. And sometimes it's taken a long and difficult and draining route. So that's why I'm just going to say, okay, we're not going to fight in me anymore. And by the way, like I said, being bored and spending that time with yourself and actually creating that space to properly think about how you feel about situations is going to create the scenario. And let's say if you're the person who's in that loop and you can't leave the guy, you're also going to come to this conclusion by a lot of self-talk. There's going to be a lot of other things, and that's why I do recommend therapy. I do recommend seeking advice from the right people, by the way, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. And also, I want to talk about developing your own taste. On my podcast, the Whimsy Warriors, all of these episodes have kind of been about developing a very strong, unique sense of self. I believe we've all got a bit of weirdness, quirkiness, a bit of whimsy, a bit of extravagance, and it's lost on trends. We've lost so much of who we are, dabbling in just a new music taste. you know what I'm going to say right now? I'm going to sound like I've lost it. A teapot. Whatever happened to a teapot? Hear me out. I was making tea, and I've got a collection of teapots because I'm just that kind of bitch. I believe everyone who's got a teapot just has a little edge. So that is your sign to get a teapot. Because in the hustle and bustle, we've only got time for a kettle. But there's something about, no, I'm going to prepare my tea in a teapot because I have time for that today. And I want to feel whimsical when I'm pouring my tea. This is where I might lose a few of you, but stick with me. Get yourself a teapot. I'm a little teapot short and stout. Here's my handle. Here's my sprout. Yep. I was just thinking, like, little steps to inject a bit more magic into your life. The teapot thing, we'll just drop that for now, but get a teapot on a serious thing. But yeah, I was on one of my Patreon lives. I was doing a teapot and I was asking everyone, like, hey, have we all got teapots? Like, we need to start using teapots again. Developing your own taste of what you truly like, what truly sets your heart on fire. That's only gonna happen when you create space. And guys, you know what pissed me off the other day? I saw that trend. Things people are definitely pretending to like. No, how about people just have different tastes, you insufferable little winnet? Oh, people are definitely pretending to hate matcha. It's disgusting. People are pretending to hate sparkling water. No, people just like different things. What an absolute insufferable view of the world to think that just because you don't like something, no one else does. And yes, it is that deep. Put your snorkel on. I'm a Leo. And even for me, that is insane levels of arrogance to think that no one else likes things. I think that Aperol Spritz tastes like battery acid with crushed copper coins mixed in with washing up liquid, but I still believe there's people out there that like them because people say they like them. How about this? I like cottage cheese. I actually like it. And it's not because it's sometimes the only way for me to get my protein in, and sometimes I have to eat it. I definitely like it. But the gag is, people like shit. People are different. Okay? And I think social media, which is why I'm like, take these breaks, come out of the real world, gets us into that thing of like, no. Why do people do this? I just don't get it. You don't have to get it because you're not that person. God, I just don't get it when people do this. Good. You're not meant to get everything because you have a different walk of life and you've been on a different path. And I apologize for getting a little passionate about this, but I'm getting a little sick of the state of the world. That's why I'm covered in foil, bitch, because I'm deep fried. The downside is, when you're figuring yourself out and you're on this journey, it is very isolating. When you're on a journey to depth, finding who you are, all these things I've been talking about, becoming yourself, all the things I talk about in all of my episodes. By the way, hit a little like or a little hype on the YouTube if you haven't already, just right now. Period. Thanks. It is isolating because you will realize, and it will hurt you, a lot of people aren't as deep as you, and I'm not doing it in an insufferable, like, who's deeper than me, bitch? No, but I'm saying this world is full of shallow people. It's full of people who don't understand the principle of things I talked about in the last episode. It's full of people who are like, oh, it's okay, we can drift, we can be, and you're full on. It's full of people who don't understand where you're coming from, and just because they haven't walked in your shoes, they're not leveling with you. It's full of people who won't get something just because they can't. So they're not even a bad person. So it's isolating, and you might find that you actually have to water yourself down. A lot of the time, if you're a deep person, you'll have to water. I saw a TikTok that said this. You have to meet people where they're at depth-wise. You might have to water them down, because you can go blue in the face trying to explain a point to someone that this is why they did that. This is why I chose that. It wasn't that. It was the principle of it. And they're never going to get it, so they're going to make you feel crazy if you go blue in the face trying to explain it. So you have to meet them where they're at, which does cause it to be quite isolating, because there is going to have to be thought processes that you keep to yourself. There's going to have to be decisions that you keep to yourself, because you know there's certain people that are never going to understand it. So there's no point. You don't want to drain yourself by trying to get someone to understand your point. That is draining. Also, personality privileges. I think this is a weird point just to end on, but like, I think when you're a really multi-layered onion, and when you've got a lot going on personality wise, and you're around people that are sometimes a bit blood-sucking bandits and just people who are a bit you kind of have to water your personality down around them, because you don't want to kind of waste your, true self on these like people, because you can't avoid, unless you live in a greenhouse, in a secluded, safe room, you can't avoid people who are going to suck the life out of you. If you think I'm different around you, I act different, oh, she's reserved around me, she's different than her videos, I give out personality privileges, bitch. I don't like you. Your vibe brings, oh, she's very reserved, she's different from how she will. Yeah, I don't like you. Your vibe is putrid. It stinks here, poo-wee. You give off a very neggy vibe. So I reserve personality privileges. Your personality privilege has been revoked. Why would I want my flamboyant, ferocious vibes to be uplifting this space when you're ponging it out? I'm going to revoke. I am a method actor. I am a chameleon, okay? Right now, I'm a shell of myself. Oh, she's very quiet. She's not like this in her video. She's very, yeah, I don't feel this safe. This doesn't feel like a safe space. How about that? I don't feel safe. I thrive in environments that support my whimsy. Like I said, I don't want my charismatic cuntiness to be in this putrid environment that you're in right now, because like I said, you can't always be around amazing people. That's an insane thing to think. You're going to be around judgmental, icky people. Quite a few times at events, I think people think I'm quite rude. I just sense a real clicky, weird vibe. So I'm just like not going to be me true self. And that's, I think a lot of people think that. They think that just because you show up when you're in a nurtured environment, a good environment that you enjoy, my best self with you guys or with my best friends, that's an environment where I'm thriving. They then get upset when they don't see that version of you, but have you created a space for that version of me to grow, bitch? I identify as a seed, bitch. My pronouns are water me. You have to create that environment. Can I ask something of you? For my regular listeners, for my new people, I actually don't want you to do this because, well, you can actually, but I want you to listen to a few more episodes first because I want you to be all the way in with me. And I have that much faith that you will be. But for my OG divas, can I ask you a little request? For any of you who listen on Apple you can write a written review of the pod, and I would really love to read your whimsy reviews. Get a little poetic, get a little Edgar Allan Poe, get a little Shakespearean for me, and I will reply to them. But on Apple, yeah, you can write written reviews, and that would be a big favor for me. Obviously, you know, guys, I'm going to always continue doing these amazing public episodes for you, but that would just go all the way. And on Spotify, you can rate it as well. And on YouTube, you can leave me a little comment and answer the big question, but also just leave me a little comment. That would be amazing. I cannot wait to see you all in my soul scrapbooking workshop, which I will be saving for anyone who can't make it, who's in work or something, which will be taking place on the Aftercare Patreon. By the way, just to get that sense of community and all the extra stuff and not miss anything, obviously submit the Dear Sarahs, but also the group chats we've got, the 75 challenge, all the extra Aftercare episodes, all the lives that have been saved, all on the Aftercare Patreon, linked in the description of wherever you're listening and watching. And of course, subscribe, get me on everything, because next week there's going to be an amazing public episode lined up. And also make sure you follow me on all of my socials, guys, because I've been posting loads of stuff all over socials, TikTok, Insta. I also have an Insta and TikTok for the podcast as well. Please get on that. I love you so much, more than you can explain. I'm so grateful for you guys, and I will see you in the next step.